Judge has tied Roger Maris, hit his 61st home run. We're recording a bit of an emergency segment because we did most of the episode before the Wednesday game. And in typical Bronx Pinstripe show fashion, something big happens the moment we finish recording. We kind of knew that was going to happen, but we cannot record Thursday morning, so we had to do something and record before the Wednesday game. We kind of figured Judge will hit his 61st, maybe even his 62nd, because we already finished recording. Scott, what's up? He finally did it.
He finally did it, and yes, we have. We are the ones to thank. As soon as we started recording that thing before the game, you knew damn well he was hitting 61 tonight. But yeah, he did it, and not only did he hit 61, but he did it to give the Yankees the lead. Another just perfect representation of what that guy's been all year long. So happy that it's done. Happy it was a missile, and yeah, just happy that it's over and he can go back to the Bronx and hopefully be a little looser.
It was so they showed the booth cam of the call, and Michael K is doing his thing, and David Cohn's just sitting there, just like looking at him rounding the bases, like no real emotion on his face or anything like that. It got me thinking, like, is that Cohn for every play? Like, he's just sitting there completely stone faced no matter what's happening on the field. Like, that's got to be a trip for the guy calling the game with him.
Yeah, I think he was just in awe, but yeah, he's concentrating. He's concentrating very hard, and I think he's just in awe of what it was, and it finally went down. So, I thought the call was good. I saw some people analyzing the call, Michael K's call, but apparently it was a nod to Rizzuto's call for Maris when he did it. Is what I think I saw on Twitter.
See, here's the problem when you've got so much time to prepare for a call that you know is going to happen, is that like you try and get real cute with it and like make connections to the past and everything. I mean, I get it. Like, we've known Judge is going to hit 61 and 62, hopefully 62, for a while now, but you're never going to get the authenticity of the in the moment, just emotional call, which are usually my favorites.
Yeah, you're setting up for it almost. So that's why I think I just assume it was intentional, but the nod back to the
It
Yankee
was intentional.
call for this, I think is cool, because you're right. You're waiting for this moment. It's not like you're surprised, like it's in the middle of a playoff moment, and you're riding the emotional mental wave of a game. Like, this was set up. You knew it was going to happen, so it almost has to be staged.
Yeah. And they were Kay mentioned early in the broadcast, like, Boone asked Judge if he wants to play today, and he said yes. And it's the hangover game. They celebrated last night after clinching the division. Today's game means nothing. It's all about when Judge is going to hit those home runs. So the only people playing are the backups and the guys going for the milestones. I mean, shit, we've got Anthony Rizzo managing the team. He's the acting manager in this game. So obviously Judge wanted to get in there. The ninth inning just ended, so he's not going to scrape across one more at bat. But like you said, it's good that he got this out of the way, at least tying Maris. So now the next home run at home obviously will put him one ahead, because it was going to be a lot of pressure. We talk about this later in the episode, but a lot of pressure to try and hit those 2 homers in those 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you're damn right. I'm playing. If I'm Judge, I'm trying to get as many at bats as humanly possible
Yeah.
at this point. And yeah, that's if he the ninth inning just ended, so he's not going to get another at bat. So him going back to Yankee Stadium to break the record, I feel like is so much less pressure. And it's almost like the
Yeah.
crowd now, like there won't be any silence in this one, because now he's getting 62. In the future, in the episode today, we were talking about how the crowd got silent for him. But you go back to Yankee Stadium, and you're trying to break it now. Now everybody's gonna be fired up. Like, it's much looser. It's all gravy at this point. And I think that's just huge for him.
And once he hits 62, probably that's when he'll sit down. That's when he'll get the rest. And say he hits his 62nd on Friday, he'll definitely be sitting Saturday. Probably get like 2 more DH days throughout the rest of the season, or a couple pinch hit opportunities just to keep him fresh before the long layoff. So what'd you think of our boy Cole's start tonight?
Oh, Jesus Christ! I thought we were just talking about Aaron Judge. Do we have to do this?
Okay, like what else do you want to talk about Aaron Judge? He hit a lot of home runs this year.
I know. I just don't want to talk about it. So okay, it wasn't a 3-run home run, which I thought it was going to be. So that's
Nope.
that's where it was. But my God, did that man melt down? My God, he throws 5 perfect innings. This is like exactly what we talk about in the future here. And then the one and the balk, the hit, and then the balk, which was just like
the balk is what did it for me, because it's like he didn't have control over his body in that moment. He starts his windup and then just stops. He's like, oh right, that's a balk, and just like he's like shaking his head like, what did I just do there? It's like, how does that happen? I don't understand. Like, just a complete brain fart. Like, what happened there? And the only thing I can think of is, I mean, Cone even mentioned this. He's definitely second guessing his pitch selection right now. So he starts his motion, and he's not 100% confident in the pitch selection or the location or whatever it is. So his mind is elsewhere.
So he just shuts down. His body just shuts down.
He just shuts down. Yeah, he just goes
physically shut and just falls.
And then it's like, it's so easy to understand how he's given up so many home runs, because I mean, not every time does he just stop his motion and have a balk, but if your mind is elsewhere, if you're not completely confident in the pitch selection, it's like, in my mind, very easy for a fastball that's supposed to be on one side of the plate just leaks into the middle of the plate and leaves the park.
If your head is so far down that road of not being confident and not having any decisiveness in what you're throwing, that your body shuts down in mid rotation, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Like that's the guy is so in his own head. I don't know how you get out of that, because it's so, he wears it too. It's not like it's just in the performance. Like, you see it on his face. He's frustrated. And then when that frustration happens, I tweeted tonight, pressure is a privilege. You shit the bed, and that's it.
It happened as soon as the home run was hit. He gives up the home run, and he's like, here we go again.
Yeah.
Instead of just locking it down. Like, no, you threw 5 perfect innings. You were unhittable. They couldn't touch you.
Right.
The Blue Jays came out looking like they were hungover. Not the Yankees. The Yankees came out looking great. And Cole was looking the best out of all of them. And it just completely flipped in the 6th inning. And it's I have this, every time Cole pitches, my dad texts me. He's like, he's a 5-inning pitcher. I don't understand why the Yankees can't see this. Just pull him after 5 innings and he'll be fine. Well, it's like, well,
it's kind of a point.
Really? I mean, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a joke, but it's not wrong.
It's not wrong. Yeah, if he just was pulled after the 5th inning, his ERA would probably be like 2.8. Okay, so yep, that would accomplish that.
Analytics would love that one.
But that's not what we're going here, Dad, with Gerrit Cole. We're not going for 5-inning starts. We're going for 6+ inning starts. But he, like you said, he's unable to finish. He was not able to finish today.
Gerrit Cole has a 3.29 ERA in innings 7 through 9. So there you go. There's his stat.
3.29 ERA, which is exactly pretty much his ERA overall, right?
3.01 in innings 4 through 6, and 3.96 is coming into today in innings 1 through 3. So maybe they should just make him a reliever.
just make him a reliever.
Just bring him in the 4th inning.
So what's his best inning? It's not even. Yeah, it's crazy.
4 through 6.
4 through 6. Okay, so just like get the scoreboard
he actually
operator.
Is just really bad in the 1st inning and in the 5th inning.
Well, 1st inning, top of the lineup.
Well,
5th inning.
Today,
really good in the 2nd inning.
Today it was,
and
the
really
6th
like
inning.
unhittable in the 4th inning. Really unhittable in the 4th, like 0.62 ERA. It doesn't even make any sense.
I mean, none of it makes sense. His number, like the blow up innings are all over the place. Like he's had the blow up inning in the 1st inning against Seattle. He's got hit. I think he gave up 5 runs to Toronto in the 4th inning or 5th inning earlier this season. So I mean, it's all over the place. I mean, obviously, I know I'm talking about my dad's text, joking. I don't think they should pull him after 5 innings. He should be able to get into the 6th and 7th inning. And it just seems
consistently, without
happens.
The 7th inning should be a consistent landing place for that man. It really should.
And especially in the first game of the division series is you're not looking for 5 innings. You're looking for him to finish at least 6, if not 7.
No, but it also goes back to the point. We already talked. This is messing with my head right now because we just talked about something that is very relevant. But you'll hear it in a minute. But the Tyone and Severino debate on what you're getting for that next starter in the playoffs. If you do go Tyone, then now you have another guy that can be stretched after Cole goes 5.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you wanna talk about from this game? Judge, what got anything else on Judge? 61st home run, big home run.
I'm just excited. Huge home run. I'm just excited for him. I'm excited that it's over, and the guys can move forward. What was very cool is watching everybody's reaction to 61 because you could just tell they were all along for the ride with him and just really pulling for it. So that was fun to watch, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he does at Yankee Stadium now, actually, because I think he's going to be a lot more loose.
Did you hear? I think Meredith was talking about how she asked Stanton about hitting 60 home runs. Did you hear that part of the broadcast?
Yeah, he said I hit 59.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, it's hard. I hit 59. I couldn't get to 60. I don't know exactly when he hit his 59th home run that season. Because I do remember that being a topic when he was in 2017.
He had 7 games.
He had 7 games to go.
59. Yeah, he had a lot of time, and that's why they asked him, like, how'd you deal with the pressure? And he kind of looked at the media and was like, I didn't deal with it. I didn't get it. Like,
yeah, it wasn't a privilege. So, yeah, I remember it being talked about 60 home runs because that, still is a special thing. All right, enjoy the rest of this episode, guys. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. Scott is back on the program. I feel like we have not recorded an episode together in quite some time. I'm not going to lie. I think there was one like maybe a week and a half ago or something, but it's been a while. We've been alternating episodes. We're here today.
What's up, buddy? How we doing?
What's up, buddy? We're here today to talk about the AL East division winners, New York Yankees, which for a 2-month period, we were doubting heavily. But they won the division.
For the first 2 months, it felt like it was in the bag with no issue. And then the last 2 months, it felt like it was such a distant actual milestone that may not ever get there because of the wheels falling off. But again, man, I go back to Mr. Jorge Posada, just telling the future, just talking about the future and what is going to happen. And yeah, it's, they've been putting it together. They stretched their lead in the AL East again as well. So it looks, the eye test looks nice from where it was. You know what I mean? Like they're getting it back to like, they didn't scratch it across 3.5, 4.5. No, they're getting it back up there close to 10 again. So good for the guys. They did it in Toronto, which was nice, especially because of the walk off the night before and all the antics that went around that. But yeah, I'm just glad that they did it, that they did not blow this. I'm glad that we don't have to talk about this being a massive collapse because it was getting hairy.
So they went 13-13 in July, but they since the All-Star break, they obviously were terrible. So if you do the All-Star break through the end of August, in August they were 10-18. They were well below 500 in that stretch of time. I meant to look this up, what date they would have clinched had they just gone 500 in that time instead of playing like 400 baseball. In reality, we're probably talking about like 5-6 days ago that it would have been the difference, which in the grand scheme of things is not a huge deal, right? Like, does winning the division, not in the last week of the season, like they have a week and a half to go. They're not going to have to be fighting and pitching guys in that crazy doubleheader next week or anything, stupid to try and clinch the division. Does all of that sort of erase the July and August slump in your mind?
I mean, yeah, they won the East. They're ending what on seemingly, I know we're not all the way there yet, but on seemingly a good note. So as long as they continue that, then this is what they were. If you ask them, they were being a little bit more cautious. They had a little bit more rope because of what that lead was. So if we at the end here, they make a deep run and we're looking at how they set this up and they got to this point, then yeah, it doesn't matter. They did what they had to do to win the division. You could make a
deep run.
You could make an argument about the first or second playoff spot if you really want to, but That's
You said if they make a deep run, if they get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, then doesn't matter.
Well,
that you
then
won
we're
the
looking
division or
back
didn't win the
again.
division.
It's a history. Us looking back, saying that okay, they were just like hot for a week, or the last 2 months. As long as the last 2 months is not the Yankees team that we have currently, and as we're moving into
That's
the playoffs,
the question.
Right.
That's what we're going to learn in the playoffs, right?
Sure.
Because they played unbelievable baseball through the month of June, and then in the month of September so far, they're 16-7, and then in the middle month and a half there to 2 months, they were dog shit. So ultimately, the real 2022 Yankees are going to be decided in the playoffs.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's when the Yankees get determined every single year. So we have when we're talking about a year, when we're talking about a team at the end of the year, and we're talking about a specific year that the Yankees are playing, we will always talk about what they did in the postseason. And if they didn't make the postseason, which hasn't happened in a very, very long time, of course, the only thing that we're talking about is that, hey, this team couldn't get it done. This team didn't get over the hump. This team, failed at this point, whether it's in the DS, the CS, or the World Series. That will be the determining factor of what this team is, and how history looks upon it.
That's what us fans, most fans, you and I, will determine the season on. But say they didn't have that July and August slump, and they ended up winning like 110 games this year, but then fizzled out in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think
even more so, to be honest, even more so, because then you're like, oh, this really truly was a failure.
But we know that Cashman in the front office department believes that the playoffs are a little bit of a crapshoot, and you can't judge a baseball team on a 5 or a 7 game series. And they would point to the fact that they won 100 plus games and say, no, that's the real team. Not losing in the playoffs is the real team. But now if you lose in the playoffs and you had that long stretch in the season where they were completely lost, then the question is up for debate. I was asked a question recently. Does winning the World Series help or hurt the chances of Aaron Judge being back next season? And I said, I don't think it impacts it. I think the only thing that could impact Judge being back is if the Yankees completely bomb out in the playoffs. First round exit, they look terrible. And I think that increases the chances he is not back. And the reason I said that is because if that does happen, Steinbrenner, whoever's at the top making decisions, could have a real argument to say you fizzled out in the playoffs, and you had a team that we thought was World Series caliber through a half of the season, and then in the second half of the season was bad. Okay, so that is something you could point to. So that's how I feel about this. That's where I'm coming from. Ultimately, the Yankees are going to be the 2022 Yankees are going to be determined on the playoffs. Now, again, if they didn't have that long stretch in the middle of the season of crappiness, maybe you couldn't sit there and make that argument.
So, I mean, basically what you're saying is if that were to happen, then Judge not coming back would be a lot more about what the Yankees do or do not do. It would be more on them, because they're looking at it with like, hey, this team fizzled out, not going to make
extend ourselves for Judge because whether he's back or not back next year.
But they believe it's a crapshoot. So then, don't you want to put yourself in a best position? I don't think it.
But then it wouldn't be a crapshoot because they were playing bad for half the season. That's the thing.
I mean, okay, Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout are on a team that is like 10, 12 games under 500. I'm just saying, like, again, you could make the argument that one person doesn't necessarily make or break a particular team, but the way I see it is that it has no bearing on what Aaron Judge does. I think if the Yankees pay him and they give him the biggest contract with the most years as what he's going for, and the open market, they beat the open market, I think that he stays as a New York Yankee. I think ultimately he does want to stay a New York Yankee, and I don't think their exit or deep run in the playoffs actually has much to do with it. What he's determined and what he's kind of shown to this point is that he's going to get the contract that he believes he deserves no matter what. And that's why I don't think the team has any determination in how they do. But what you're saying is the other side. You're saying that the Yankees may not offer.
Of course, it's the Yankees' decision. I'm not saying Judge,
but again,
Judge winning or losing, he's going to sign where he gets the most money no matter what.
Right.
So ultimately, the Yankees winning could impact whether or not they're willing to give Judge the most money. That's my point.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe that though. What you're saying, your hypothesis.
Well, Logan put in the notes like, oh, well, Freddie Freeman and the Braves is an example of last year. The Braves.
Well, you got to talk to the agent. You got to make sure you're aware of the deal. That's part of it.
But maybe there was more willingness to let Freddie Freeman walk from the Braves' perspective because they accomplished with Freddie Freeman what they set out to do.
They also had Matt Olson waiting in the wings, like with an
Sure.
opportunity to refill that position with not really a ton, minus the local, guy who's been there
that's
for a
why
long
the
time.
Yankees traded for Juan Soto. They didn't trade for Juan Soto at the deadline.
Yeah. So if you show me like a clean replacement for the best player in baseball, then okay, then we can have that conversation. But that's not the way this is. Not to mention, this is just me being a biased Yankees fan, and that's fine, but it's different. The New York Yankees signing a guy like this, especially knocking on wood, 61 happens and all those things happen. I hope it happens soon for this guy, but there's just a different feeling of Aaron Judge leaving the New York Yankees than someone else leaving another team. It's an iconic franchise with a guy that's very much the next Yankee guy. He's the guy. He's absolutely the next captain. There's no doubt about it. He signs. He's probably the captain either the next year or the year after. I wouldn't put it past another year.
The only equivalent of this happening in our lifetime is
with Pujols.
Oh no, I was saying.
Oh, you're saying Yankees, Bobby Cano
is Cano leaving, and not that Cano had the popularity or the off-field impact and implications that Judge has, but on the field, Robinson Cano was the best Yankees player when he left in free agency.
Yes.
And the Yankees moved on from him. I would say that's the closest example of what we have with Judge right now. If he were to move on, but it's not even on the same level. It's not close to being
the same. It also because, I mean, if you believe this, I do believe this. I believe that there was smoke with Robbie Cano, and that the Yankees, wouldn't extend themselves to a certain point. And then, obviously we all know what happened to him. Fall from grace, went to Andrew's favorite state in the country, and then got popped. I believe there was smoke. I believe there was smoke with him, and he just chose the biggest offer. But it's very different. You're right. It is very different in the type of players, their profile, all of the above.
Judge is still stuck on 60, and everyone's waiting obviously for him to get 61. I'm sitting here saying 61 is big, but isn't it going to be bigger when he hits 62? So it's like he's still 2 away from what everyone's ultimately waiting for. If you were to catch one home run ball, wouldn't you rather catch 62 than 61?
Yeah. So you got to hit 61 though. You got to tie the record first, and that's where the pressure is.
To have it first.
Yeah, that's the pressure. Look, I was really hoping we were going to be able to talk about this on the pod before they were talking about it on the broadcast. And I was at my congrats to my brother, by the way. He's a married man. I
did congratulate him on the last episode. I know you didn't listen, but I congratulated.
Yeah. I was not drunk. I was drunk, but no, it was a lot of fun.
Did you get a speech?
Amazing wedding. I did. I had a best man speech on, and I believe I performed well.
How many drinks did you have before the speech?
I don't know, 5-ish.
5?
But it wasn't like I pounded 5 drinks. I was just kind of, had a beer here, had a beer there, we had a beer beforehand, had a beer.
How long did after. How long did the speech?
I probably went around 6 minutes.
Wow, that's a long speech. Did you have notes? Did you have your phone up? Did you have a piece of paper?
Yeah. So funny enough, I was not going to, but that morning I was not feeling well, and it wasn't because I was hungover. My brother had a bug the day before, and I think he gave it to me, and things were not right in the body at that point. And I was my head was really cloudy, and I hadn't even drinking that much the night before, to be honest. I'll fully admit, everybody has heard me very hungover, probably seen me very drunk, but I took it up there as a little, and I'm glad I did, because it was just not like I was looking at it. I was just referring back to it occasionally. Cause I did a pump fake. I didn't make fun of the kid, which I very well could have, and everybody was expecting. I went heartfelt and told the entire place, and how good of a guy he is. And I didn't want to miss some of the points that I was going to make, and I could have. So that was the other reason. I wanted to make sure I hit all of the things, because sometimes I'll do it and I'll ad lib a little bit, and I didn't want to miss some of these things.
No little soft jabs at him? Nothing?
Oh, there were some. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I took some subtle jabs. There's no doubt. But the night before, so funny enough, the night before, one of his very good friends. I'll give him a shout out here. He's a professional comedian. He's one of the most talented guys I've ever met. Dan Altano. He is a comedian, but he also sings with another one of their friends. They used to have a band, Kevin Madden. They used to have a band together. Anyway, they sang a song that was absolutely roasting my brother at the rehearsal dinner because my brother's always late. And the song was called Tim's Always Late. And it was just a solid like 3 to 4 minutes of Dan like rapping about why my brother is late in very specific reasons, like situations and things. And I was rolling on the floor. It was hysterical. So
I can't follow up that.
I couldn't follow it up.
Funny. Yeah.
If they wanted me to do the best man speech after that, I would have been like, you can't make me talk. You can't make me talk. I'm not talking. I'll do it tomorrow. I know there was no upstaging that. It had to be the next day. And thankfully I had prepared for the opposite. So it worked out.
Nice.
What were we talking? I was going to say something about
Judge. I think Judge is catching his 62nd home run or getting 61 before 62 or something. We were talking about Judge. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. I don't remember what I was saying, but that's my brother. Yeah. He got married. I was saying something.
He's obviously feeling the pressure.
I know what it was. Thank you. The crowd going silent. And on TV, it sounds so quiet. And I don't know if it feels like that in the stadium. Because they were doing it at Yankee Stadium too.
Definitely at Yankee Stadium.
I mean, I don't remember the last time I've heard that place as quiet as it. Because in no situation is a baseball crowd quiet. You know what I mean? Like even when your guy is up, like you're still cheering. Like it's not one of those situations where it's golf or tennis or like or even football where you're trying to get the crowd noise down. No,
so you can
baseball's not like that. You go nuts no matter what. The whole place usually is bonkers, and it gets so quiet. So he's sitting there like, why is it so? It's like you feel the pressure even more now because there's like, just a spotlight on you and everybody's holding their breath because they don't know what to do or how to think or what to feel. I almost want Judge to like walk up and like give me an arm raise or Rizzo or someone get on the top step and like pump the crowd up so the guy feels the adrenaline again and like feels the crowd. Because at Toronto, they were just definitely being like nice, very polite Canadians and not saying a damn thing. But
I feel
Yankee Stadium, like I want some noise behind him, and I bet he does too.
But I feel like in general, when I'm at a baseball game, and not a regular season game because it's a regular season game, but a playoff game, and the Yankees are pitching, and say it's bases loaded, 2 outs, and they're trying to get out of the jam, I'm standing up, I'm screaming, I'm cheering, I'm making a lot of noise. If it's 2 outs, bases loaded, and they're hitting, and you're looking for a run, I don't know that I'm screaming and cheering. I'm standing up definitely, but it's more of like a nervous energy.
Oh no, I'm yelling. We're definitely yelling because you're also trying to mess up the pitcher. There are 2 things that need to happen in that situation. Pitcher needs to deliver a ball that's over the plate, or he's trying to hit his spot, so you're trying to rattle him a little bit too. And that's why I don't think there's ever a lull in the crowd, especially at Yankee Stadium in a big moment. Everybody's always up and being loud. So it's very odd when you are watching this on television because it sounds really quiet it's almost like COVID baseball where it's like fake noise. I'm like, we've learned how to pump in noise, right? So maybe we just give this guy a little bit of fake noise to get the thing going. I really do. I feel like another player needs to, whoever's on deck, whatever, needs to just give the crowd a little. He needs a hype man right now just to get the crowd going again.
He's still having good at bats. Like he walked 4 times, had deep counts. I can't
believe how patient he is right now. It's crazy.
I thought on Monday he expanded the zone in one of his at bats. I think he swung at a couple sliders off the plate and hitters counts. Did. But also like he's prone to swing at some of those anyway. He was called out on a low strike as well. He's got a 591 on base percentage since hitting his 60th home run. He's walked a shit ton, but I don't think it's like pitchers for the most part. They've pitched to him, right? Like he's had pitches to hit for the most part. The Red Sox pitching, I thought, challenged him. Toronto, he again walked 4 times on Tuesday, but every single count I think was a 3-2 count. So he was in battling counts, right? And the pitcher just ended up walking him. I thought after the ball on Thursday didn't leave the park in the 9th inning, that starting on Friday is when I think the pressure started to mount for him. And you started to notice the crowd, like you said, getting quiet for his at-bats. And I thought the Friday, Saturday, Sunday games especially was like all anyone was there for was the Judge at bats. Nothing else mattered.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like 15 people deep in the Maris family coming here to watch that. Like, it's a record that has stood for a very long time. Like and it's the home run record. It's the home run record
But
in the
it's
American
not
League,
the
in the
home run
American
record.
League, in the Yankees organization. And that is a very sacred thing. That is a very sacred thing when you're a New York Yankee.
Record in the Seattle Mariners organization?
Well, it doesn't matter. Who cares? That's the point. That's exactly the point. When you look at who the people are in the American League, it's Babe Ruth. It's freaking like the top list is freaking Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, and Roger Maris, and they're all Yankees.
And Alex Rodriguez.
Do
Do you consider, so when he hits his 62nd home run, are you going to look at Aaron Judge as the single season home run leader?
Leader this year? Yes, of course. In total,
I
I know what the record is. I don't need to. I don't need to
That's
distinguish it.
Yeah, okay.
I don't need to distinguish it. I know what the deal is. I know what Aaron Judge is doing right now.
Yeah,
is probably the most impressive thing that we've seen as far as home runs in our lifetime because of the other guys that were aided. Yes, and look,
what Barry Bonds did. Even though he was on all of the steroids in the world, was more impressive because he legitimately was being pitched around and still hit 73 home runs.
There's a stat, and Logan, maybe you could find this, and I saw it on Twitter at some point, but the amount of pitchers that Aaron Judge has faced versus I saw it up against Barry Bonds, I think, and I saw it also up against Maris and
Maris definitely.
Of course, it's crazy, but even since Bonds, like there are more specialists, there are more of these guys that have come in. So you could absolutely make the argument that it is the most impressive. This guy is not on the juice, as we all not on the juice. I'm going to make a declaration and is getting pitched to as particular as you can with advanced analytics, with specialists that are all throwing 100+ miles per hour. So you could absolutely make that argument that this is the most impressive home run season in baseball history. Logan,
I have your stat.
Yes.
Judge has faced, so this was on the 22nd, but this was right after he hit his 60th home run, and I don't think he's probably faced many more new pitchers. He's faced 244 different pitchers. And counting, obviously, the season is still going. Maris had 101 different pitchers, and Babe Ruth only faced 64 different pitchers.
But what about Bonds?
Do we know the Bonds number?
So Bonds isn't on here, but because it's in the season. It's in the season that I'm looking at right now. So Bonds isn't on here. Sosa's on here a bunch. In 98, 99, and 2001, he faced 215, 213, and 211.
So
I'm sorry. Bonds, 201.
So it's on par with what Judge has faced.
Judge, you said 244.
Judge faced 40 more.
Yeah, already. And he's got another, 6 days?
Okay. 40 more and 13 less home runs.
Right, but that's 40 specialists. That's not. It's also like you're looking at these guys that are coming in to face. It's just different. Look, it's different. This is like comparing eras.
But also,
you're also trying to say that like the more impressive 13 more home runs. Okay, 200 less guys using freaking steroids. Okay,
what about
using
the
steroids.
Ball? What about the juice baseball?
This is really interesting.
The home run rates around baseball are higher now than they were in 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001. The
other reason why is if you look at the mean, right? All these advanced analytics are usually about what the average is and how you compare to the average. He's hit 20+ home runs more than the next guy. That's crazy.
I'm not shitting on his season. Go ahead, Logan.
So this is a great stat. So this is based on quote unquote tired pitcher. So a tired pitcher would be any starting pitcher who's facing the batter for the third time or a reliever facing it for the second.
Can they get a better title than that? But okay.
Tired pitchers.
Yeah.
1967, 26.9% of total plate appearances were against tired pitchers. This year it's 13.7.
Yeah, that's the biggest change.
Total number of hits against tired pitchers. 28.9 in 1967, 15.1. This year.
Why are we comparing it to 1967?
Yeah, I just think it's when you look at them and you put them next to each other, and not to say one is.
I think
you could absolutely make the argument that this is the most impressive season.
I would not make that argument. I think it's up there with the most impressive offensive seasons of any baseball player in our lifetime. I will remember it forever. it's, in my mind, not the single season home run record, unfortunately. But if people decide to treat it that way, that's totally up to them. I just think when you start to do that, then you call into question. You have to call into question the results of games in that era, and that's never going to happen. Baseball's
No,
never gonna
it is
actually
what it
do
is.
that.
The numbers are what they are, but there's nuance and context to everything, and
Sure.
and how you choose to acknowledge those numbers and give respect to those numbers is where the difference is. And that's a personal preference, however you want to look at it. But when you're talking about most impressive and you're understanding all of that context and all of the things that are playing into a particular season, I think I could make a very strong case for this being the most impressive.
So he's playing Wednesday night. We're recording this before Wednesday's game, so we don't know if he's going to hit home run tonight. He's DHing leading off. He's got 3 more home games to hit. Potentially has to hit 2 more home runs to pass Maris. That's some pressure. That's not easy. That's not going to be easy to do. And we thought it was going to be easy after he hit like 9 home runs in 5 days leading into the last homestand, but it's not going to be easy to do if he goes in needing 2 in 3 games.
No, it's not. I mean, you see how the pressure is. The thing is too, is like for him, even Barrios was throwing him, some breaking balls down in the zone that, a lot of people would swing at. They weren't bad breaking balls. They looked good and they had late break, and he was spitting on them. He really was. So he's had such good at bats. And with him, he's a similar, the way that he hits, like, he doesn't always hit for a home run. He's looking to make good contact, and a ball just goes out because of his tendencies. And it's like, now, I don't know if that's making him press a little bit in the way that he's approaching the at bats. Cause every at bat now you're getting what? 1, maybe 2 decent pitches. If you miss that opportunity, you're either getting,
I don't think that's changed. I don't think that's changed.
But you add the pressure to that,
season.
I'm saying. And now it's just like the stakes are that much higher.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I do remember Bonds was on the K-Rod cast and he said hitting the 61st home run was the hardest of his.
Cause I knew I was cheating. Yeah. And I was ruining the record books.
I think it's because
it was the hardest because I knew it in my head.
61 is the number still that a lot of people remember. When we talked to Andy Martino a few weeks ago, I legitimately didn't know if it was 72 or 73 home runs.
That's the other thing.
That was the record.
I think that's most people. I didn't either.
And that's and so fine. But like, unfortunately, it's not going to be Aaron Judge's name at the top of the list. That's like, that's just unfortunate.
But in everybody's hearts and minds, they know who would, and that's, and honestly, like, mind. Yeah, that's, so what was his name? The guy that, the poor bastard that lost the perfect game, Anibal Sanchez, was that who it was with Detroit?
Yeah. Well, that
was a perfect game, right?
Yeah, it was a perfect game.
Galarraga.
Oh, Galarraga. That's right. That's right.
And it was a perfect game. Last out. No replay.
Yeah,
for his base. He lost.
But that helped him because it got more attention on his perfect
I'm just
game
saying, like, that was a perfect game, but it won't be.
Definitely cost him some money, probably.
For sure.
It cost him some money?
Yeah, probably.
It was a damn shame. I can see the umpire, but I cannot think of his name right now.
Was it Joe West?
Contract?
No, it was not Joe West. He had a mustache, or he had like a goatee.
Only Randy Levine would use that not getting a perfect game in negotiations.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about big.
He felt so bad too afterwards. There was like he apologized.
Oh, yeah.
There was a whole thing about it.
They did like a whole ceremony on the field.
Really well respected umpire too.
Jim Joyce.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the big decision that people were second guessing from Monday's game, and it was the decision to pitch to Vlad in extra innings, which ended up not working out for the Yankees. We're going to talk about this decision with our brand new sponsor, Athletic Greens. I'm very excited to talk to you guys about this. Drinking AG1 every morning is a great decision. We're going to find out if pitching to Vlad was the right decision to make, but definitely can recommend AG1 as what you need to do to start every single morning. It's packed with multivitamins, minerals, nutrients, and they all work together to make you feel your healthiest self. Some of the many benefits of Athletic Greens includes it supports mental clarity and alertness. That's why it's recommended to drink this first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. I took the travel packs with me on my West Coast trip. Wasn't sleeping well on the West Coast, jet lagged. I was up at like 4 or 5 in the morning. Popped one of those in a water bottle every single morning, drank it. I just felt better. Maybe that's what you needed to get rid of that
The cloudiness.
the cloudiness you were feeling on the morning of the
I
wedding.
did. I mean, I got back into action. Even getting back into the real world is a tall task. One scoop, get back to my everyday routine and feeling sharp. So
we're also going to need it for October. Hopefully the Yankees make a deep playoff run, which also means late night podcasting. So we're going to need it for those early mornings. Athletic Greens promotes gut health with pre and probiotics. It's maybe not something you've thought about. If you've experienced stomach pain, maybe thinking about your gut health is what's actually causing this. So this is something I actually discovered years ago, started taking a probiotic, and it helped a lot. It can give you better sleep quality and recovery, and it boosts your energy. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews and is trusted by athletes and health experts around the world. It even tastes good. I thought it was going to have like an earthy kind of gross taste, and it just doesn't. You can mix it with something sweeter if you want, but I just mixed it with water, and I actually like the taste of it. Each serving costs less than $3, which when you think about it is probably less than you're spending on a cup of coffee or an energy drink. So not that you're going to replace this entirely with a cup of coffee or anything like that, but it's not that expensive. And you know that $3 is well spent because it's supporting your health. Go to athleticgreens.com/pinstripes for a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Again, athleticgreens.com/pinstripes. Thank you to Athletic Greens for supporting us. Would really appreciate it if all you guys go check this out. Cannot recommend it enough. All right, this second guessing of not walking Vlad, which I actually agreed with Boone when he said it's kind of pick your poison. When you look at the numbers in this situation with Kirk on deck, it kind of was. The splits for Kirk and Vlad are essentially the same against right-handed pitchers. Kirk is a 296 hitter with an 818 OPS. Vlad is a 283 hitter with an 840 OPS. Basically, a single wins you the game anyway, so it doesn't matter if you hit a double or a home run. I didn't hate the decision to let Clark Schmidt attack Vlad in that situation. Obviously, it didn't work out, so that's where the second guess comes in.
Yeah, it's an easy Monday morning quarterback, although I will say this. I don't think it was I mean, if it were me, I'm walking Vlad, no doubt about it. I don't even care what the splits say. I just know who the players are, and I know that one of them is Vlad Jr. and the other one is not. So I'm taking that. I'm taking my chances with a guy that's not the superstar, not the pedigreed guy that was going to be a baseball player his entire life, and take my chances there. It didn't work out, but I will say this: it almost did work out because the Yankees winning clinching the American League East, shoving the words back into his mouth from the night before, the night he walked it off saying, my house, this is my house. Well, the Yankees clinching and celebrating, popping bottles, popping champagne, and having a celebration in Vlad's house was the best, cold hard takes you could possibly find. It's like, or cold takes exposed. There you go. Now you're now you're looking at it.
But it's like, if you think
it
about
is.
like the roller coaster of Vlad over those two games, right? Like he gets the walk off, he's celebrating on the field, which fine, that's what he should do. It's his home park, and he hit a walk off. But then not running out of the box on something he thought was going to be a home run, and then getting thrown out at second base. Like the fact that happened like 3 different times this series so far by the Blue Jays. Teoscar Hernandez did it too with Severino on the mound, and Bichette gets kind of a the cheap tag play, the sneaky tag play by IKF, but okay, like it worked. So it's like the Blue Jays just playing so sloppily, like in that inning specifically, making 2 outs at second base, Vlad being one of them. I think his manager called him out after the game for being unaware. It's just like, yeah, okay, fine. You do you, Vlad.
You just called that play cheap, the cheap play from IKF. So it was not cheap. It was not cheap. This is what you're taught from very, very young age. What is cheap is if it's not caught by the umpire, and then the replay it catches it. The dickhead in the other dugout is like, oh no, he did like a fraction of a centimeter came off.
That's why these guys are holding tags on now, because
they saw it in real time. Like don't take your body off the base. Like, so it was, to me, it was a totally, legit call, legit. Everything was legit about it. It was a complete
It's
mistake
fortunate
on
for the
Bichette.
Yankees.
Yeah.
It's
If that is not called but then it's reviewed or it's challenged by the other guy and then they reverse it, that's where I have a problem with it because of the intention of the instant replay.
But I think that's a reason why you get these delayed holding the tag on the runner, because they know we can replay this, and he might have come off the bag for a split second.
You do it anyway, though. You're taught to do it anyway.
It's not. I know you're taught to do it anyway, but it's very rarely called. It was called in this instance, and normally you don't see a guy hold it on for that long. But I think the instant replay has caused it to be more. And fine, like this is the rules we're playing with, so guys are going to try and get every out they can. I mean, in reality, Tyone's lucky in that situation because he gave up that double, and then he should have given up another double to Vlad, but he was freaking loafing around the bases and got thrown out.
Hosed by our guy.
And Tyone ended up pitching deep into the game. His pitch count was low. Yeah, his pitch count was low because they ran into 2 outs in that key inning. So I think Boone, after the game, I was listening, he was like, yeah, well, we didn't really have much of a bullpen tonight. Like he was going to have to go deep anyway. Well, thanks, Blue Jays, for allowing this to happen.
Yeah, it's always nice when the other team cooperates with your game plan and does all the things you need to do so that you can get, refreshed and reloaded. So I thought Tyone did pitch well outside the home run. He was, like you said, there was a little bit of luck, but that's fine. You can have some bad luck too. So I think the good comes with the bad, but I thought he pitched well and he's seemingly, he's becoming a very solid option. It's when you look at the numbers splits, they're a little different, but they're not different enough between Tyone and Gerrit Cole. They're pretty damn similar, man. They're way too close together. They're really way too close.
Yeah, and obviously you feel differently with each on the mound,
of course.
But
I
asked this question to the guys on Monday's episode. What is your confidence level of Gerrit Cole entering a playoff game, 1 to 10?
Dude, right now I'm just waiting for the big inning to happen. So I'm like a 6 or a 7.
I said a 6.
7's like giving him the benefit of the doubt and hoping that he'll be the thing and not give up that big one. But dude, he's been doing it like every single freaking outing, it seems like, in the past month and a half. Logan.
Yep. I mean,
so I have a question though. So tonight he's pitching. Obviously, you guys saw him party last night. Does he get graded on tonight's start at all?
I mean, party.
He was.
Did you
vibing.
see him?
He was bobbing his head.
That's fine.
He was bobbing his head. He looked.
They posted the team picture. He looked.
That's not Andre. That's no Andre. So it's not. It's going to give you a little bit of a cleaner hang up.
I hope. So it looked like he looked more high than drunk. So I'm hoping that he just popped like a little weed gummy instead of drank champagne, because champagne hangovers are no joke.
You know what? I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he gets shelled tonight by the Blue Jays or if he struck out 18 after the way he partied last night, because I don't know what to expect.
Valid point.
I expect him to strike out 12 and give up a 3-run home run in the 6th inning.
So valid point that tonight's grade will be, I guess, on a curve, with the understanding that they did just clinch. However,
well, if he's good, then he's good. If he's bad, then it doesn't matter.
Actually, opposite. If he's good, then it doesn't matter, because that's what he should be. And if he's bad, this is more ammo for me to say, see, he's bad.
So you're grading him on a down curve?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I grade everyone on a down curve.
That doesn't seem
Welcome
fair.
to the Bronx Pinstripe Show.
Welcome to the Andrew side of the Bronx Pinstripe Show. Yeah.
No.
Okay. But he's deserved that. He's deserved that because he is he's a guy that just hasn't lived up to expectations. Not even close, I think, in my opinion. And it's he's given us this fear. We didn't make this up. We're watching him pitch, and he's done it himself. He's the one who's going out there and like, oh man, he's pulling an A-Rod. The numbers all look great at the end of the year. The ERA is a little high. Numbers look great. Strikeouts there. You look at strikeouts per, the amount of innings, strikeouts to walk. Like all those numbers are going to look. The splits are going to look good. It's all going to look good. But you know what? I know damn well that guy is giving up a 3-run home run in the 5th or 6th inning. Almost every outing since July, it feels like. That's what it feels like to me. So he hasn't finished. That's the biggest thing with him. He needs to finish a start. Get into the dugout with a clean inning. Get into the dugout with a good lead, not having your team bail you out again.
Well, the thing that bugged me about the game against the Red Sox, not to rehash this because we
and that shit's not going to happen in the playoffs. It's not.
He thought he finished, right? He thought he was walking off the mound with a called strike 3, and it didn't happen. And instead of just making a good pitch on the next pitch, he grooves him a fastball, and that's like the most frustrating thing. And then he's like,
so he didn't finish. Then the umpire dictates if you do or you do not, unless the man swings with the bat, which he didn't. Therefore, not finished.
I said he thought he finished.
Well, that's a problem.
He did not finish. So
that's what she said.
This oh boy, this dovetails into the conversation I want to have about Luis Severino, who pitched 4 innings, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts. He did walk 3 on Monday. He nearly gave up a 3-run bomb to Teoscar Hernandez. It ended up being a 2-run double off the wall. I thought, again, his stuff looked good. He threw 76 pitches. That was their plan. He's going to have at least one more start. It would come this weekend at home against Baltimore. I don't think they'll do this, but they could start him on the last day of the season if they wanted to, but it would be on 4 days rest. So I really don't think that's going to happen. So say he gets in his next start to 90 pitches. Is 4 to 4.5 innings, 90 pitches, 2 runs good enough for a playoff start?
I'm not sure what you're asking. Like you're talking about because if his ceiling is lower because of the pitch count thing, then you're almost expecting. I mean, look, Severino hasn't been known to go deep into playoff games, to be very honest. It's a matter I guess it would be, thinking back at his history, that would probably be a solid start for him. But I want him throwing. You just got to have someone ready to go. You got to have
going to be starting a playoff game. That's not my question. I know he's going to be starting a playoff game.
But on that day, Domingo Germán or Clark Schmidt or someone's ready.
So really what we're doing here is you're hoping Gerrit Cole finishes his start. Then you're going Nestor Cortes. Then you're going Luis Severino piggybacked by Germán or Clark Schmidt or somebody. And then you're pitching Jameson Taillon in the 4th game. Or as we discussed on the last episode, maybe you're coming back with Gerrit Cole in the 4th game because that's actually full rest for him. But then you're maybe leaning on Nestor Cortes short rest or Jameson Taillon in a game 5.
Is there a circumstance where they're leaning Taillon over Severino because of the ability, if he's not fully stretched out and he's got the, Taillon's got the ability to go deeper and he's been pitching well? I'd say that's not completely off the table.
I don't rule it out.
Yeah.
And then you would have Severino and Schmidt or Germán. And again, a lot of this depends on how deep the other pitchers go. Because if before a series starts, if you're penciling in our game 4 starter is Severino and a piggyback, well, then what happens if you have to use that piggyback in game 3 because it's extra innings or because your starter in game 3 gets shelled and has to come out in the 2nd inning, right? Like, so shit can change. And when it's a piggyback start deeper into the series, the chances that you're basically pitching with a man down in the bullpen,
you're depleted
the entire series, or else because you have to prepare for that piggyback start late in the series.
So it's actually, if you think about that too, again, if we're making arguments for one or the other, you could certainly make the argument that Taillon Severino, like numbers wise, pretty like confidence wise, I'd say they're both very close. But Taillon, what he does is that he could go deeper. He's giving you more options. Then you have Severino. That gives you 3 guys potentially with Schmidt, Germán, Severino to come in for significant innings, significant at bats. Whereas Taillon is the starter. You don't have to prepare for that 3rd guy. I mean, granted, you always want to have that guy ready just in case, but you have a 3rd guy available for a deeper run if possible, if needed, and just a weapon. Unlike Severino, becomes just a weapon out of the pen.
Maybe Montes too as a piggyback guy, because they're saying he's not going to start throwing again until September 30th, and he'll be back for like 30 to 40 pitches for the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell that is. So,
what about this? Would you say it may be a safer plan to do the piggyback start with Severino in game 2 because you get an automatic off day before and after game 2? So you're going into that game with a more rested bullpen and you're coming out of that game with a more rested bullpen.
Interesting theory. Interesting
Then you
little
delay
situation.
Nestor. You delay Nestor to 3, and then you can come back with Cole on full rest game 4, or you can go Tyone game 4. Everyone's penciled Nestor into game 2, which fine, he's earned that, right? Like Nestor has earned the game 2 start. But do circumstances change that based on off days and other things?
Yeah, I think also looking at the matchups, looking at, do you want Severino pitching on the road? Do you want Severino pitching at home? That's another, thing that you have to think about too. Like look at the splits compared to wherever they're playing. Where's the matchup? Where's the matchup in your favor? Does Nestor have the better home and away splits, or does Severino have? They've done that in the past. So I wouldn't be surprised if Severino, the situation that you just laid out right there, I could see Severino being there, but he's also had his troubles at Yankee Stadium in the playoffs.
He's had his troubles everywhere in the playoffs.
Yes, but also at Yankee Stadium.
Especially at Yankee Stadium. Starting the game on time, wild card scenarios.
Yeah.
It's all big
David
thing.
Robinson being Iron
Man.
Was
DJ LeMahieu was not activated for the game, right?
LeMahieu was not activated, and I've been sitting here trying to search for an update on him, and there is not one. But they said this weekend,
they were talking about it last night,
today or
coming back
Friday. I mean, I don't know what it doesn't sound like. If you listen and you read the tea leaves, it doesn't sound like they have much confidence of anything other than like, let's give it a shot and see how it feels. Which is
I think
fine.
You activate him.
Clinched, you might as well.
Yep. You activate him over the weekend. You try and get him a game on, say, Saturday, and then a game on Monday, and then maybe a game on Tuesday. And if he feels good after that, then you ride it. And if it almost doesn't matter how he looks. It more just matters how he feels after playing those games. But he's not starting in a playoff game.
Well, I mean, that you could also look at the other side of that is, because they got the bye, this is an opportunity to give him an even more extended rest. And does DJ LeMahieu need those games because he's going to sit again, for a week or whatever it is for the bye? Why not just rest him the entire time and get that thing feeling as good as it possibly can? Get some of those wet swings in before they go into
they talked about their plan playing sim games and stuff? Because I think the Dodgers talked about playing sim games. They've got like sim games scheduled and stuff. They're going to be calling up like minor leaguers to like play. It's like when, in football, you got to like simulate the other team. It's like,
I haven't heard anything about it.
Logan's asking if that week off makes us nervous.
It makes us nervous. Baseball's not meant to be played with a week off.
Yeah, that I don't think it gives an advantage to. I mean, but we've seen it work in the past where you just get healthy, and I think in this case for a guy like DJ, this gives them an opportunity like this clinching, ahead of time, 2 series ahead of the end of the season. What's happening. Where you're playing next when you're playing next. So it gives you the ability to get that extra rest and really plan for these things. So that's why I after the clinching, like if they changed course a little bit and didn't activate him, would not surprise me. And in fact, like I think that's probably the move.
The division series is going to start 2 weeks from yesterday. Exactly. So they're not going to play a meaningful game for 2 full weeks. I mean, they're not going to, they're going to treat these next games like spring training.
Show. This is the Aaron Judge show until he hits
and it's the Aaron Judge show. I mean, it's kind of been, but it really is now. And then they're going to have a week of no games. I mean, the advantage clearly is Seattle's going to, Seattle, I'm just assuming it's Seattle. The wild card winner is going to use their pitchers, and they're going to be coming in strapped there with less pitching. And that's the advantage. But they're going to play how many times in like football, like that team with the bye comes out flat in the first quarter. I mean, you see it every year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And didn't the Dodgers have a pretty long layoff last year, and they came back with no issues and hit? I don't know, because I think we've seen both things. We've seen teams come out of the gate. They can do those. If the Yankees come out flat in the ALDS, it's a thing to talk about, right? Like it's only a thing to point to if the results aren't what we want. What do you think the ideal? That's so ridiculous. What do you think? But the way you just said it is just so ridiculous because it's also true. It's so true. Like, what's the ideal length of off time for a baseball team? I'd say it's like 3 days, right?
The All-Star break,
which is 3 days, sometimes 4.
It's not. It's 2. It was 1 day of after that. It was 3 this year. It's usually 4.
Yeah.
If you ask the guys though at this point of the season, I bet they all say they want the time.
Well, sure.
Yeah, because everybody's nicked up, and like at this point, there's an advantage for feeling.
There's also
better.
you start to you start to get anxious. Like it's like, okay, let's go. I feel like at a certain point you're just like I just need to play the game. Can't think about the game anymore. Just got to play the game.
Yeah, but you can also get into a rhythm for your an off day routine because you're playing at home. You'll be at the same place. You can be sleeping in the same place. There's a lot of advantages for that too, especially with the team that has some guys banged up going in, and everybody has guys that are banged up, obviously. But the Yankees have some significant guys that are banged up.
Also, Wandy is eligible to come off of the IL on October 4th, which is the second to last day of the season. So that's the doubleheader day. Probably get him an inning in one of those doubleheader days if he does get activated on October 4th. Last thing I want to talk about is IKF's defense. It's certainly a topic we've spent a lot of time on this season. But the non-error play that he booted on Monday night's game with Sevy on the mound was again got people heated. I know Logan certainly
Logan hates IKF.
Not true. I don't hate players on my own team
except for IKF.
You can hate players. You can hate players on your own team.
I pretend not to.
So StatCast, so we're basically a full season of stuff, right? So let's talk about what the advanced metrics say and also what our eyes tell us. StatCast, outs above average. He's -3 at shortstop. And then that goes even deeper. He's -1 on coming in on balls. He's +2 on balls to his right, which is towards third base. He's +4 going to his left, which is towards first base or towards second base. And then he's +1 going back on balls. So my mind, I see -3 overall, but then plus on every direction except coming in. So does that mean he's also minus on balls just hit right at him? Because that's what also my eyes tell me.
I mean, I think a ball hit right at him is a ball that you come in on.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So one of the things that I think, and do we have did he get better in the second half? My eyes are saying that he did. If the second half numbers, and that's kind of what I was thinking was going to happen because of the, he hasn't played a ton of games at shortstop. So when you're at third base, you're relying very, very heavily on your instincts, right? Your reaction at that point, not instincts, reaction, your reaction. So the left and right stuff makes sense. When he doesn't have a lot of time to think and he's going after a ball and his athleticism and instincts take over, he makes a play. It's like, too much time, too much, he almost not, I'm not going to say he dogs it because I don't think that guy dogs anything, but he gets a little complacent in the routine of fielding a ball sometimes. And that's when he bounces one or, just boots it. I feel like all the errors have been just like really mindless, dumb things, but he makes the plays and his range seemingly is good. And that was one of the, is that fair to say that was one of the reasons why Urshela was knocked as a third baseman as well? Because you always remember him making those like fantastic plays.
His range,
but he would boot a ball, and maybe his range.
No, it was his range. His range was
he would
bad.
also boot a regular ball here and there.
Yeah, but again, like the errors. So advanced defensive metrics and errors don't always go hand in hand, because when Matt Chapman was leading the world in defensive metrics at third base, he was also leading the league in errors. Or he had remember the comparison was like Miguel Andujar 16 errors, Matt Chapman 20 errors. It's like, okay, but Matt Chapman gets to 4 times as many balls as Miguel Andujar, so he's got more opportunities.
Shout out to Miguel Andujar hitting Miggy doubles.
Finally with Pittsburgh, the trade that never was.
Almost got thrown out second because he definitely was thought it was out of a home run from the box. But
so this must mean that any ball that is coming in on, which must also be hit right at him, he's bad, and there's obviously more opportunities for that. But it's only -1, so it's slightly below.
Hold on. No, I'm sorry. That's wrong. I forgot a 0. It's -10 on balls back.
-10,
which is 38th out of 38th.
Balls in.
Yes, balls in.
-10.
-10, which is my mistake. I'm sorry.
Much different.
38th out of 38th in qualified shortstops.
And that's considered a ball that he's charging, or a ball right at him where he's not moving either way?
I assume so. I'm trying to find the definition of in on Baseball Savant. Now,
I gotta believe, hold on real quick. I gotta believe that every single ground ball if he's not coming in, he's either moving left or right. And they
Right.
probably just deem that
So-
as left or right. So in
so
probably
this is
does mean
important, though.
in.
So to his left, which immediately I said, well, he's a third baseman. He's a Gold Glove third baseman. He has 4 outs above average, second in all of baseball for qualified shortstops. To his right, he has a 2 outs above average, which is 13th in all of baseball, which means he's significantly better going to his left as opposed to going to his right.
But it's also, I mean,
it's also a different ball hit. I mean, the ball up the middle, which is would be his left at shortstop, is significantly different than a ball smoked into the onto the third base side, pulled on that side. It's a different look. It's a shorter distance.
This coming in thing is kind of interesting because it must also include balls hit right at him, because it must. I think what it's probably judging is where is he positioned, and then where is his primary first step. That's or where did he field it? Because you're right, Scott. Like anytime you move, you might also move in slightly. So does in to the left count as to the left, or does it count as in?
Yeah, I mean that's my thing. Is like, well, and also every ball that's hit. I mean, unless you're just absolutely perfectly, you're either moving left or right.
You're moving of some kind.
Yeah,
yeah.
You don't always have to move in, though. I mean, if it's a hard hit ball,
no, not always.
You're not charging a hard hit ball that's hit right at you.
Soft hit grounders.
That's it. That's what I think when I think of balls in. That's what I'm thinking of. And he struggled on some of those. Definitely. Apparently minus 10.
Fangraphs, he ranks 18th among qualified shortstops for their defensive metric. UZR 14th, DRS 8th. And then obviously we talked about outs above average, specifically on balls coming in bad, but on the rest of it, okay to good, and then minus 3 overall. So
second half, anything on that second half?
I could get you the Fangraphs for the second half, I think.
Listen,
because shorter defensive
Logan's
advanced
big
metrics
thing
are so good.
Is that he wants Peraza to just be at shortstop, right? Like,
no. Yes, obviously, but that's
he's like, wait a minute, not on air, not on air.
Yeah, not on air. No, well, because I think it's more just the routine plays, which is why that.
But if it's not IKF at shortstop, who's playing shortstop?
Oh, well, no. How about Cabrera?
Okay.
He's too useful in the outfield right now.
Game one.
Well, I mean,
game
yeah,
one
right now,
of
but,
the ALDS. Game one of the ALDS.
It's 1,000%,
Logan.
guys. There's not even a decision.
I know it's not a decision. I'm asking Logan. You have incepted Aaron Boone's mind. Okay, that's the plot of Inception 2 is Logan trying to infiltrate Aaron Boone's mind to make the playoff lineup. Who's starting at shortstop?
I mean, obviously, I would like to say Peraza, but I would have been playing him for the past month, where it wouldn't be like this rookie has just never played practically before and he's starting at shortstop. They didn't do that. So I guess probably I would just keep going with what they were doing because that's
Peraza ain't keeping that tag on Bichette, just saying.
Maybe.
So it's going to be IKF. I think we all just have to hold our breath in the playoffs that he doesn't make a catastrophic error.
Oh my God. Look, right? I am not expecting that at all. No, I don't. I know that people get frustrated with him, but he does not give me that feeling where I'm like, oh no, ball hit to short.
He doesn't give me that.
He doesn't give me that feeling at all. Like even a little bit. In fact, when there's a big moment, like I feel like that guy's just so ready to go that, maybe he's the other way. Like A-Rod hits big home runs in the, fourth inning when or in the ninth inning in a blowout game. IKF makes his errors on situations.
I have a fun question to end the program. What position on the Yankees field, when a ball is hit there, do you have most confidence the play is going to be made? Infield and outfield combined.
I mean, first base,
wherever Aaron Judge is playing.
But I could say that too. I could say that too. But
center field right now with Bader, right field with Judge.
Dude, you could say third base with Donaldson. He's been a vacuum.
Fine.
And Rizzo at first.
Neither of us said shortstop. What position is the least most confident? It's got to be second base or shortstop. Those are the only two acceptable.
I don't
left
hold my
field.
breath when. Well, I don't hold my breath when the ball's hit to Glaber.
Okay, so left field is interesting because if it is Aaron Hicks And even Cabrera, who I love Cabrera, but he's not a left fielder. He's a middle infielder who was turned into a right fielder and then turned into a left fielder. So left field might be the actual answer, but it's not what first came to mind.
That's what came to mind for me.
Okay.
I would have said left field or second base. I would not have said shortstop.
Now, what if Benintendi's playing left field, a healthy Benintendi in the playoffs?
I would have said second base.
Okay.
And but I got to be honest, like I feel pretty good everywhere. That's like you're forcing me to say that. You're forcing me to say this. I want to be very clear. I think that I am confident with the defense that the Yankees put out there on a nightly basis.
And think about how different that is from the past 2 seasons.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that was one of the big reasons they made the moves that they made.
Last season,
that was why they gave up Jordan Montgomery, so that they could solidify that center field, and you don't have to put Aaron Judge in center field. And you have a guy that can go out there and confidently, to a very high level, roam center field and create outs for pitchers. That's a pitcher's best friend is the defense. So if the pitcher has the ability and the confidence to go out there and pitch to contact, with the understanding you're obviously not trying to let that guy give up a home run, but you're pitching to contact because the defense is behind you. That's such a strong feeling. That's such a boost of confidence for the pitching staff. And I think that plays a lot. That goes a long way.
Yes. All right. It's going to wrap it up for today's episode. We'll be back at you again on Monday, hopefully talking about Aaron Judge breaking Roger Maris's record. Again, guys, go to athleticgreens.com/pinstripes to check out AG1. Thank you to Athletic Greens for supporting the show, and we'll talk to you in a few days.